Good afternoon, members. Can you hear me? Please.
We can hear you. Good afternoon.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, we can hear you, Lillian.
Thank you.
I can hear you.
Thank you.
Yes,
I think
we
we
can hear you.
are almost at 1:30, 32.
Yes, I can hear you. Good afternoon.
So we can start. Maybe others will be joining us as we go on for the interest of time. So I'll start by welcoming you all to this important awareness session. As you can see in our communication, sorry for that, we are trying to, okay, I think we are okay now. I was saying that you've seen that from our different communication that we wanted to have this brief awareness session for you. For you, it means you have expressed interests to get supported for the conformity assessment activities. So we wanted now to take you through the requirement shortly, to tell you what you need to do, how to prepare yourself for the upcoming certification by the third-party organization that we work with. So with this, I would like to welcome you today for this session. We thank you also for your interest and participation. Today, I'm with my colleagues that they're going to take you through all those different requirements. Allow me to give them a chance to introduce themselves, and then we continue. Please, we start with Nadine. Oh. Good.
Thank you, Nadine. Good day to us all. My name is Bashahi Charles, working for the African Organization for Standardization. Today, I'm going to take you through the certification of the products that we are expressing interest in being supported on. Thank you.
Yeah, you want me to introduce myself? Yeah, Ruben Gisore, Technical Director, African Organization for Standardization.
Okay, thank you, TD. Myself, I'm Liliane Kamanzi from the African Organization.
Naomi and Sarah.
Oh, okay. I'm reminded that we have also some other colleagues that they're going to help us in this awareness by sharing experience. Do we have Naomi?
Yes.
From KEBS? Yes, Naomi, please.
Yes, thank you, Lilian. My name is Naomi Kitur. I work with Kenya Bureau of Standards, which is one of the certification bodies that offers certification to different systems, including sustainability and eco-labeling, that is ACAP. Thank you.
Hello?
Zambia.
Sarah, are you
Yes.
there? Yeah, we've heard you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And welcome. Sarah, are you there? Hello?
Sarah from Zambia.
Do you have Sarah from Zambia? Okay, maybe we can continue. She'll be joining later. We're going to find out if she's going to manage. So I was saying that my name is Lilian Kamanzi. I'm also from the ARSO Central Secretariat and project coordinator. But today I'll also talk about one of the conformity assessment tool that can be used to assure that your products are okay. It's called self-declaration of conformity. So without taking much time, I can show you the program, how it looks like. I'm sharing shortly. Okay, as you can see on the program, we've just finished that part of introduction. We are going to hear from our technical director before we go now through the presentation from our different speakers. Thank you, TD. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Lilian. Sorry for that. Thank you, Lilian. And let me take this opportunity to welcome you all to our awareness session today. This is supposed to give you a highlight on what can be done, what kind of certification that can be done. And with the current support that we have from our partners, the extent to which we can go into making sure that you get the certification, so that you are able to consider yourselves as people who can benefit from the certification. Now, it's important to realize that in this current world, that issues of certification are becoming increasingly the tools that we use to access markets, both locally at the national level, as well as regional and international levels. And it's a way of creating the culture of quality in ensuring that we are able to create confidence among the consumers that the products that we are offering meet the relevant standards, meet the relevant quality issues, meet the relevant safety aspects, and also other considerations that are important for the products to access the markets. Now, ARSO and its partners have worked hard to ensure that we can start off the process of certification by incentivizing those who are able to start the process by paying part of the certification fees, and also paying those certification bodies who are willing to participate in the process. And in this case, we are looking forward to those who are volunteering as organizations wishing to be certified and being committed to that extent to understand the areas that we are targeting, and then they can see what kind of commitment they can put into it. We understand the process of certification is not a walk in the park, as they say. It takes a lot of commitments, it takes a lot of resources, it takes a lot of time, and therefore it is important that during this time, when you want to commit yourself to the certification, you are able to understand that it is going to take a bit of your time, it's going to take a bit of your resources, it's going to take a bit of reorganization of your work. Therefore, you then can qualify for the certification. Now, that is important. Sometimes the certification may not immediately bear the fruits that you expect, but it creates that system, which then makes it possible for you to connect with a lot of customers who will know that you're put into place mechanisms to ensure that your services, your products are meeting the relevant quality and aspects that they desire to see being corrected. quite a number of organizations may be understanding that governments across the world are keen on issues of climate change, and that's where the EcoMark certification is important in addressing that. Some of you may be exporting products which to the European Union, and you understand that there are regulations like the EU deforestation directives, which may require that you comply with eco-labeling standards that have been put in place, and that will satisfy the requirement of non-deforesting activities in their production. So we look forward to fruitful engagements. Feel free to put down your questions. Some of them you can put in the chat and ask. And feel free to engage with us in the Secretariat in ensuring that we can highlight, if there are things that are not very clear, we can highlight them, that you can understand them, so that you can easily engage with the certification processes. We are thankful for the certification bodies that have joined us. Part of them, of course, Kenya Bureau of Standards, part of also Zambia Bureau of Standards, and others who are willing to offer those services to the countries, and not just with their own countries, but can also do the certification across the borders. We look forward to engaging more, because the aim of this certification by the African Organization for Standardization is to make the certification process affordable to all those who desire it, so that it is not an expensive affair that does not make commercial sense. I thank you again for finding time to be with us, and we look forward to fruitful engagement in the coming few 2 hours that we shall be with you, so that if there's any clarification we need to make, we can do that. You understand this is the awareness phase, which will be followed by detailed training for those who wish to continue with the certification. And in that sense, then we can move forward towards the actual process of taking you through the steps of auditing and certification. Thank you very much. Looking forward to fruitful engagements for this session.
Thank you, TD, for these insightful words on the certification, the importance of certification, and also what is required to have it and what is needed. Mostly it requires your commitment, your contribution. So we are looking forward to see that during the next phase. So without taking so much time, allow me to invite my colleague Nadine to give us the first presentation and also the second on the introduction to the sustainability. But before we go into the second, we allow few questions if they are burning question. Otherwise, we have a session specifically on that after the 2 presentation. And as our technical director mentioned, you can still bring up questions in the chat box. We go through them and answer as they come in. Nadine, please take the floor. Let me stop sharing.
Functionaries, attendance. Is this one attendance?
Thank you very much, Lillian. I'm sorry for the background noise. Please, members, if you are not talking, you can mute yourself so that we can, all of us, hear the presentation and move faster. So let me share my screen. Okay. Sorry. Are you able to see my screen? Okay, thank you so much. This is to let you know that ARSO is an old organization. It's an organization that was formed in 1977 with the big mandate of harmonizing standards and conformity assessment procedures for promoting intra-Africa trade and facilitating member states to move their goods outside Africa. So this map shows the ARSO members and non-members. The ARSO members are highlighted in green. We have 43 members. Actually, it's 42 member countries and 1 observer member. And you understand that 13 remaining countries are highlighted in gray color. They are yet to become members, but there are some of them who have already started the process of adhering to ARSO. Let me just go in immediately because we have few minutes and 2 hours are not enough to talk about ARSO sustainability standards deeply and also touch on conformity assessment. So we would need like 2 or 3 days to cover all the content. But now let me jump to what we have as challenges first. We have interacted with SMEs and we have observed that there is lack of awareness or limited awareness, information on standard requirements generally, not only sustainability, but also other quality standards. There is this issue of not knowing what are the requirements so that they can comply with them. They also have some limited capacities to implement and maintain those requirements. Those who know the requirements sometimes face the challenges on how to implement them. The capacity either technical capacity in terms of personnel, staff, and also financial capacity to set up all the required equipment, required procedures. This is another issue. We have also observed another challenge of high cost of implementation of standards, which is mainly to show compliance, to show that you comply with the standards. This is certification. And we have also another one, which is related to the knowledge on where to obtain all the information related to certification, and also some lack of skills on e-commerce. Those who have attained the certification and compliance, they now need to trade to make their products on the market. And nowadays, you know that e-trading is most efficient in terms of reaching the wide market. Now let's see what are the initiatives at ARSO. ARSO has started the work of harmonizing standards. I've said when we started, we were formed, but also after that birth of ARSO, we have been having some other additional mandates by different levels at continental level. For this particular issue on sustainability standards, we draw our initiatives from the African Ministerial Conference of the Environment, which was approving the implementation plan of the 10-year framework program on sustainable consumption and production. And this program was having among the 5 priorities, among the 5 priority areas, a continental-wide cross-sectorial African eco-labeling mechanism. That was a target, to have a continental eco-labeling mechanism to recognize products that are sustainably produced to be to the market and cross the borders. So we again later on we got now ARSO approval on going through this process, and we established a EcoMark. This is the EcoMark Africa, eco-labeling mark, and this was in 2016. And since then we started, but even before that, we had started harmonizing standards from the member state demand. In 2018, there was a committee that was established on demand of the region economic communities and the African Union. And this is the committee, ARSO Technical Committee 61, which deals with eco-labeling, sustainability, and resilience system. This committee is made of experts from a number of member states, and it has convened and it has published some standards that are now I'm presenting to you. These are the standards, not limited to this. These are the standards that have been harmonized in addition to international standards that this committee has adopted. You can see that we have standards, a sustainability standard on agriculture. We have on fisheries, forestry, tourism, aquaculture, specifically on catfish. We have tilapia. We also have another series of sustainable cocoa standards. And we have other related standards to sustainability, which are a good agriculture practice. So apart from the published standards, we have other standards that are ongoing, and we encourage member states to take note on that and take part on their implementation. So these are other scopes on green building and construction. We have also on leather. We have seen that we have some SME representatives that are from the leather sector and footwear. We have on tourism accommodation facilities, and we have other standards on textile, even on fashion. We have the others on mining, and we have also on stone production, sustainable cotton, building sand mining. We also have tourism destination classification. These are the standards that are made available so that you can implement them and start the certification process to show that you comply with them. Just taking one example of the standard on agriculture, sustainability, and eco-labeling. This is one standard which has been implemented by a number of SMEs. This standard has a scope, and this scope include requirements on sustainable production. It covers processing and also trading. And it can cover a number of products. It can cover food or food from the agriculture sector. It can also, it covers beverages and other non-food products, livestock, bee products. It covers wild harvest products, including insects. We also have SMEs that are in that particular sector. It again includes agriculture fiber products. That was the scope. Whoever works on this can implement this standard easily. The structure of these standards, it has principles, it has criteria and indicators. Now, what are the principles? The principles are the statements that describe fundamental environmental, social, and economic aspects. These are the three pillars of sustainability issues. And the principles of these standards touch on those three. The criteria is a characteristic feature in the system that provides a basis for assessing performance. Now it gives us like a basis to see if you are performing well according to the principles. The indicators, they are now the actual requirements that ensure that the criteria is met. The indicator can be either pre-required. The pre-required is a requirement, something that you should be having before going into assessment, if I can say. So the critical are the ones that you should they are critical for for any environmental or social or economic aspect. There are other optional that you can, general and optional, you can comply with or not. Now the other requirements of the standards, there are responsibilities in showing that you comply. You need to show an operator who is the responsible person of the operations. We again have you have to show that you are transparent if your data and information source are communicated to the implementers or the staff. You have also to show that you are legally compliant. If there are legal laws, let's say in Kenya, you should be complying with those requirements, so that you are allowed to go into the process of assessment. We have another science-based approach. The data collected and used in the application of these standards and the justification are associated with the use of these standards shall be based on science. Like if you provide any data, let's say you are an SME working on any other food processing, you need to show that the data are based either on a test lab test, and it is documented. And another requirement is human rights. On the human rights, you need to show that you abide on all the laws that protect human and citizen, especially those of local stakeholders where you are based. There is working conditions which provide safe and healthy working conditions, including the tools, equipment, the training of your staff. And we have principles, criteria, and indicators under clause 6 of these standards. Remember, these standards is on agriculture, sustainability, and eco-labeling. It has legal compliance itself. This is where now you should focus more. It has economic sustainability, where it gives you a set of criteria to follow when it comes to implementation. It has the social and environmental management, the human protection, labor right protection, maintenance and biodiversity, soil management, water management. It goes up to to climate change and mitigation and adaptation. What are the measures that you have put in place to protect the climate? And crop husbandry and farm management. All these are shown with by evidences, the rules that you have put in place, and they are written and communicated. Now the pesticide uses and management, energy efficiency, waste and pollution management, handling and segregation of certified products, and animal husbandry. All these are the set of criteria and principles that assist you in showing that you are compliant with this standard. Now, this is a summary of the standards. I wish I could continue in their cap, then the questions come later, if you allow. Now, how do we show that the SME or the operator is complying with the standards? There are conformity assessment procedures for that. And under ARSO, we have a conformity assessment program, ARSO conformity assessment program, which is managed by the ARSO Conformity Assessment Committee. And this program has various application schemes. And for this particular one, well, this is just a list of the schemes. The schemes are on the first column, and the subject area on the second column, then the scope on the third, and then the last column, the fourth one, is the sample standards that are applicable for that particular scheme. You can see scheme one is scheme one is scheme A, is a primary production. Primary production can cover crops, livestock, aquaculture, apiculture, and you can see the subject areas, agriculture crops, livestock, aquaculture, apiculture, and it can be either by a single farmer. A single farmer can apply for this as long as you have fulfilled all the legal issues and the registration issues by the country, from the country you are based in. Then it can also be applied for by a group of farmers, where you find that a group of farmers have made a cooperative and they are applying for certification under this scheme. There is a number of standards. This is just a sample, but we have other standards. We have another scheme, scheme B. As I said, we have 12 schemes, but this is scheme B on food processing. We have also scheme C on chain of custody. We have scheme D. Now scheme D is the one now handling the issues of sustainability. You know, sustainability standards are standards that are tackling issues on environmental, social, and economic, but you cannot get certified only because you have followed all the requirements of these standards, where your product is not fulfilling the quality requirement of the product itself. So under this scheme D on sustainability and eco-labeling, we also have we can also have single legal entity or group of farmers. The other ones are the African traditional medicine. That's for information. We have another scheme on scheme F on sustainable capture fisheries. We have certification scheme G on good finance grant practice. We have a scheme H on cosmetology and wellness. We have scheme J on sustainable mining, scheme K on eco-labeling, organic agriculture. We have a scheme L on made in Africa. So these are the schemes that are there in ARSO. Kindly mute yourself.
I eat rolls every day.
Kindly mute, or the host, could you please mute the person? So after this, how can you know that before you engage a third party organization to come and assess yourself? What can you do to show that at least you are complying? The first thing is to acquire these standards. I am not going into the certification process because my colleague will go into it, but this is just the first step you have to do if you are interested in implementing these standards and getting the market, accessing new markets. You need to acquire the standards either by approaching your NSB and getting the standard and start reading the standard and implementing. Where you are required this, you do it. And there is a set of checklists to facilitate the SMEs. We have produced a checklist where all the requirements are listed, where all the indicators are listed, and we have a drop down to see where you belong. If you are a bronze, my colleague will explain well what is bronze, what is silver, what is gold, and what is platinum. These are levels that are allowing the farmer to mature progressively. So you as a farmer, by assessing yourself, you will use this checklist and see what you are complying with, what you have already in place. And if you don't have in place, how can I get it in place so that I can comply and call a third party to come and assess? These checklists actually, those who are committed can express their interest, and we share these documents so that they can start the process of self-assessment. So this table is all summarized in this slide, where we have the pre-required requirements. The pre-required requirements is just before going into the assessment, what should I have first? I should be registered in a registered organization in my country. I should have, I should be paying the tax as fees required in the country, like that. And after that, we have the critical criteria, and we have the required criteria, the general criteria, and optional that you can comply with or not. So we have a table where now we see what are the requirements for these particular standards. I told you the standards on agriculture, eco-labeling, and eco-labeling and sustainability. The pre-required requirements under a bronze. A bronze is a low level of low performance. Yes, it's a tire. It's levels of, we call maturity model, and the a little bit improved tire is silver, and the gold one is a good level. The platinum is the excellence. Now there is these numbers are the numbers of requirements you have to fulfill under each level, under each tire. So for the pre-required, you can see it's the same number for all, because it's pre-required requirements. There are things that you should be having in place before starting. For all is the same, they're the same. And you can see for the critical, they are the number is growing as per the higher level. As you move to a higher level, the requirements for the critical increases. You can see now for the platinum, the critical requirements are higher. So this is the number we have, and you can see the total requirements is the same for it's 232 for this particular standard. Of course, for this time, you cannot understand well how this is structured, but if you are committed, we can again engage on a separate platform, not in this meeting. So for me, in conclusion, we need to be working together, either the governments, authorities, standardization bodies, and also implementers. These are now the SMEs, so that we can have we can reach to a good number of compliant organization. We have also to contribute to technology advancement, so that at least after complying with the standards, you can be able to access to a big wide market, not only domestic, but also outside your country. So I can submit, moderator, I can submit, then if there is a question, we can take them. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Nadine, for this insightful presentation. Now we are in the session of Q&A. So I'd like to ask you if you have any question. We have been answering some of the questions in the chat book, but if there's any burning issue, you can just ask for the floor or raise your hand. Hello, can you hear me? Is
Hello?
everything clear?
Yes, yes, we can hear you. I can hear you.
We go one by one. I can see Chantal was the first.
Oui, je crois que quelqu'un a déjà demandé, mais je voudrais demander si c'est possible de nous donner tous ces documents, parce que avec la rapidité, on a du mal à prendre des notes et à suivre en même temps. Donc, si c'est possible d'avoir le document, comme ça, on prendra le temps de lire à tête reposée. Merci.
Oui, c'est bien noté, Madame Chantal. On va vous partager les documents et ces différentes formes pour vous préparer, au fait, pour faire votre évaluation, quoi. On va vous partager ça. The next, I think, was Sheikh. Hello.
Hello?
Yes,
Hi,
please
can
go
you hear
ahead.
me?
Yeah, but there are some background noise. If you can just.
Hi.
Yes.
Hi, thank you. I think you might have briefly answered my question in the chat, so I'm just going to ask for a little bit of clarification, if that's okay. In regarding to the CAPS or the conformity assessment bodies that have certification schemes, and they would like to enhance it by including the ARSO's already established schemes based on Canada and Egypt. Would it be possible to apply for the certification with our currently already established certification scheme? That's my first question. And my second question is for the financial support. Does that also include the possibility of the certificates? Because I know each certificate is a value cost payable to the accreditation body at a yearly point. Would there be financial support in regards to each certificate?
Okay, this is noted. But to be sure on the first question, you were asking for those SMEs or CBs that are implementing already some certification schemes. How is it going to be, or how they can apply the ACAP? Is that the question?
Yes, so essentially you got the question correct. And just to make it a little bit more clarify, is essentially if the conformity assessment bodies already have developed a certification scheme for the client and we want to partake in this particular initiative, it will need to be in conjunction with, I guess, the ARSO's eco standards. Is that correct? And then henceforth, their certification schemes.
Yeah, thank you. That's well noted. Let us take 5 and then we go. We answer this question. Next one.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you very much for the enlightenment. My question is, if one is not prepared for the process now, is there anyone we can access the opportunity later, maybe after this program or anytime later in the near future? Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. That's my question.
Okay, thank you. I've noted. Now the last one is Esther. Esther, can you go?
Hello, good morning.
Yes.
Yeah, my name is Esther Eko from Dexterra Integrated Services Limited. So my question would be, for the EcoMark Africa logo, does this certification give you the
Sorry? I think we have lost you.
Use the
We lost you for a few seconds.
logo on your product after this package product.
Kindly, can you repeat the question?
So I was asking if this certification gives you the rights or privilege to use the EcoMark Africa logo on your product.
Yes, definitely. When you comply with the requirement, you're given the mark to attest that you're complying.
Okay.
Yes,
thank you
so much. So let me give the floor to my colleagues to reply to different questions, starting by the first one.
Thank you very much. The question I would like to respond to is the one on if you are already on another scheme. And my answer to this question is yes. The other scheme, you are being certified against standards for that particular scheme. Here, like my colleague Nadine has already presented, we have got African Sustainability Scheme in different scopes. That's agriculture, forestry, tourism, like that. And then also, of course, in those scopes, they have their various products and their value-added products. So for EcoMark, it will be based on the African sustainability standards. But the other schemes maybe you are noting are also based on sustainability standards that incorporate the issues of the environment, social, and environmental. So there wouldn't be very much difference, but of course, there will be some slight difference between the African standard in terms of the requirements and the other standards. But what we are saying is if you are already in another scheme, it is very easy for you to comply with this African standard. Thank you.
May I ask, thank you, Charles. May I ask a clarifying question in response to that?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And you pretty much answered my question, so thank you so much. And to provide a little bit more contextual background, is that we currently have the Marine Stewardship Council certification, which relates to sustainability in like a chain of custody in a variety of different topic areas. It was just very highly aligned with the ARSO standards. I'm just wondering, do we need to create a completely different new certification schemes in regards to the ISO eco standards, or can we already enhance our current certification scheme to include it as well?
Thank you very much. If you looked at the certification schemes that my colleague Nadine enumerated, you will see there is a scheme there on fisheries, which is the capture fisheries. I think this is where the MSc falls under. So you can still also be certified against that scheme on fishery. So again, the standard for MSc could be slightly different, if not the same. And therefore, that's why we are saying you are being given ECOMAC for this particular scope. But again, like I said, both the standards will incorporate the issue of environment, social, and economic. If you are to be a food processing plant or fish that you are using fish from wild capture and you want to say that it is sustainably produced, then you need that sort of certification for purposes of traceability. That is the chain of custody standard.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Charles. Can you hear me? So I think I can answer the second question on the financial support. Yes, this financial support consists of supporting the certification process, the assessment as the initial stage of the certification. We are paying 70% of that, of the whole cost of that process until you get certified. But as a contribution from your side, you are required to pay 30% of the invoice. So once you are committed and once you are ready to continue with us, we are going to link to you to the certification body, those who are in the SMEs and those who are in CBs, they'll be linked to the accreditation body to support them in the process. So they're the ones now to give the quotation depending on the scope or where or the processes that you're dealing with. And then we go ahead, request you to pay the 30% as the commitment, and then we will be paying the balance, the 70%. I hope this answers the question.
Yes, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Can I ask a
Okay.
follow-up? Is that okay?
Yeah, I think we can we ask, we can continue with, because some of the question will be answered in the next presentation.
Sounds good.
If not, you can still drop the questions in the chat box.
Sounds good. Thank
For
you.
the interest, yeah, for the interest of time. Okay. If it's okay, then we go to the next presentation by Mr. Charles. He'll be giving us the ECOMAC requirements. Thank you. Excuse me to come back again. I think there is something that I forgot to clarify based on the question of the finance. While I'm waiting for my colleague to project, you asked if the support is for the entire period of the license. Actually, the support will be for the initial certification. That means the first initial certification, and then the annual fee will be covered by the SMA. Thank you.
Okay, Lillian.
Thanks.
Okay, good afternoon. I hope it's afternoon everywhere. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can, Charles.
I'm going to take you through the component of certification. Some information like I've been given by Nadine would be repetitive, but I'll move faster on that. So that would be the lineup, the outline for my presentation. But where Nadine has covered, I'll just cross over. So about ARSO, we are an intergovernmental organization. We are, so I will not be able to talk about that. That one was also captured by my colleague Nadine. And also the origin of ECOMAC. That one was also covered. But we would like to say that ECOMAC here is both a program and a label. It's a program at the ARSO because we are implementing it. That is under this project, the program that we are supporting the SMEs and the certification bodies. And is anchored under Scheme D of the ACAP that Nadine explained. And several companies have already been awarded with ECOMAC. We have some 2 certification bodies that are undertaking that work currently, that is Zambia and Kenya Bureau of Standards. These are public certification bodies. The scope was also covered well. We have agriculture, we have fisheries, the one I said, this is on capture fisheries. We've also got on forestry. Then we've got also on tourism. And then we also have got on aquaculture, we have tilapia, we have African catfish, and then we have got also on sustainable cocoa. Right now, we have some other standards that are under what we call approval on leather and footwear, textile fashion, mining, natural building stone, cotton, and then tourism accommodation facilities and green building. So this will add to the area scope that we have been, when we are calling for call for expression of interest, we had not included this because they were not, we don't have standards on them. And like I was explaining to earlier person who asked a question, these are the standards that the certification will be based on. These are African standards. The mandate of EMA, and that is why we are here, is to promote certification of goods and services complying with sustainability standards, then promote African sustainability, goods which are produced at regional and international level, support the MSCs to get certified in order to access niche markets. And initially, this program had been piloted in 10 countries, but now we are doing it across Africa under various projects that are supporting this certification. So to be on the same page when we talk about certification, we might not be understanding exactly what we are talking about. So there are quite some terms that we need to be familiar with. And this can be found in the ISO standard 1,000, that is 17,000. And one of the terms is attestation. And this is a statement that is based on fulfillment of specified requirements. So once you demonstrate compliance with these requirements, then that is called an attestation. These requirements are actually in the actual standards that we are talking about. If it's agriculture, forestry, tilapia, sustainable cocoa, like that. Then we have scope. This is the range of characteristics of objects of conformity covered by the attestation. So here you have to be clear whether you are talking of an agricultural product, and also that is agricultural scope, and also the actual standard, the product that you are talking about. Then there is the issue of declaration, and this we are calling it first party attestation. So it is a declaration that you are complying with the requirements, or you are fulfilling the requirements specified in that standard. And this is where you have what Lillian will talk about later. There will be the self-declaration of conformity, and then also third-party certification. Now that we are talking about certification, which is third-party attestation related to an object of conformity. This is a product or scope that you are dealing with. And then certification does not include accreditation. So certification is mainly given by certification bodies. Accreditation, which is third-party attestation related to conformity assessment body. This is given by an accreditation body. So accreditation body will normally look at that party's attestation to conformity assessment bodies that will include certification bodies, laboratories, inspection, all those types of bodies will undergo be asserted. Third-party attestation will be given by an accreditation body. So other certification, I've said we've got KEBS now and Zambia Bureau of Standards, but we are bringing on board many others. Under accreditation, currently we are working with the KENAS, which is Kenya National Accreditation Services, and then also AJAC, which is Egyptian Accreditation Council. Some of the companies that have been awarded EcoMark, they are listed there: Kapungtuni, Kapkiai, CoffeeNav, Coffee Management System, all the way. Some are in Kenya, others are in Rwanda, like Hotel Miri Collins, Allied and Tiba in Zimbabwe, Kwaku in Ghana, SON in Uganda, Laufame in Nigeria, Lisempe Irrigation, which is in Zimbabwe. And recently, that was in October there, we had Yatu Foods in Zambia dealing with black coffee, and PA Shakaya that is dealing with tilapia. They actually give those fingerlings for production of tilapia. Why do you need EMA? Of course, anything will be motivated by the benefits you accrue from implementing such a program. And one of the benefits is EMA certification will enhance access to international and regional markets for African producers by rebranding their products and services as environmentally friendly. So when we talk of even international and national, like when we talk of international, when the technical director was giving his opening remarks or he didn't mention like the issue of compliance with certain directives like the EU deforestation regulation. So if you are complying with this, you also complying with such a regulation. And this is backed by a study that we did that was done some times back on sustainable cocoa. There was a study that was done that vindicated or showed that compliance with African sustainability standard on cocoa you are complying with the EU deforestation regulation. And by extension, of course, other products that have been has been certified. So this is important as we are looking forward to exporting our products either directly or part of the value chain to Europe. Then you need to comply with this sustainability
about the
product.
7,000 in terms of it about the one.
EMA label is important, or one of the benefits is to boost to producers in the current shift towards sustainable production methods, especially regarding to adaptation to climate change. Remember, these standards are addressing issues to do with the environment, and this is a component on climate change, how you mitigate or you are taking care of the environment. The other benefit is EMA certification will stimulate a market demand for environmentally sustainable goods and services. And therefore, if you have this mark, then you have some return on your investment because you'll be able to attract some markets for that. In actual fact, for those farms that undertook EcoMark certification earlier on, we did make a survey from them to ask them what were the challenges and what they had been able to realize. And some of them were able to report that they had actually been able to capture after the certification more local, regional, and even international markets. So for the consumer, EMA certification will improve the transparency and origin of products as well as environmental and social conditions of production in Africa. So consumers, based on this mark, when you affix this mark on your products, it will give informed, or it will inform the consumer that you have been tested independently and you are complying with the standards that address issues to do with the environment. And therefore, the consumer will be able to make an informed decision on whether to buy your products or not based on that label. EMA certification is a way of informing consumers about environmental and social impacts of selected goods. So this is important. And then also I did forget when earlier on in this slide that the way the world is going now is on what we call public procurement, where sustainable public procurement, where they are going towards procuring goods that comply with sustainability standards. Then benefits to the industry. The EcoMark certification will integrate climate relevant criteria into companies' sustainability policies, which means if you are to comply, then you have to make some strategic decisions on how you are going to approach this certification, which might also inform some investment in terms of maybe some equipment and things like that. EMA helps manage the proliferation of existing standard systems more cost efficiently. So when you comply with this, you might find that you'll be able to comply with certain regulations that are addressing issues to do with the environment. And when you comply with this, of course, you'll be getting away from things that consequences that might arise from non-compliances, including penalties like that. EMA gives the industry a unique opportunity to tap on new sustainability supply sources in Africa. I think that one I've mentioned, the issue of sustainable public procurement for sustainably produced goods and services. EMA certification label gives the industry opportunity to integrate EMA as a credible and truly environment label. You can be able to, once you have that label, you are able to communicate that this label is for that is for a product that's complying with an environmental label. EMA, if you look at the international standards, like ISO 17024, it is a type 1 level. EMA certification helps industry to comply with the EU and the EU due diligence directive. This was mentioned earlier on by our technical director when he was making his opening remarks. And like I said, this is based on the standard that had been commissioned earlier on that was able to come up with that recommendation. So again, to the continent, because we are looking at a continental level, EMA certification improves export opportunities for Africa's sustainable products, and also it addresses the misconception of environmental consideration as technical barriers to trade. So sometimes you might look at it like those requirements are actually acting as a barrier, but when you look at the benefits that you accrue from the certification, then you see that it's not really a barrier, but actually a means or a tool to help you access those markets. Now we look at the certification process. First of all, I said certification is the process that will be able to help you to demonstrate that you are complying to the requirements of a particular standard. In this case, we are talking of various African sustainability standards and also other standards like was presented by my colleague Nadine on good agricultural practices and all that. One of the criteria or one of the issues that you need to consider when you are looking at certification, now that you are in the process of being certificated, first of all, is you have to be a legal entity. This process can only be undertaken to a legal entity that is registered and complying with the national legislation. So that is number one. The other one, of course, you cannot be complying with a document or requirements of a document that you do not have or you do not know about. So the other requirement there is you have to get familiarize yourself with the actual standard that you are supposed to comply with, whether it's one on agriculture, whether it's one on fisheries, whether it's one on tourism. You need to familiarize yourself on that. And these standards are available. I believe Lilian will be able to, for this particular project, support in terms of having the standards given to you. And then also, for each of these standards, in order to be able to help you assess yourself, under the ARCAP, we have been able to develop what we call a checklist for each of these standards, the ones that have been finalized. And this is basically a checklist. We'll be able to guide you on the requirements and their expectations. What is required, as Nadine had said, what is pre-required, what is required, what is critical. It will be able to get to guide you on that. So one of the things that you need to do is familiarize yourself. First of all, ensure you are legally registered entity, and then you familiarize yourself with the standard that is within your scope. Then, under the checklist, you do a self-evaluation so that you only apply when you are almost sure that you are going to comply with those requirements. Because again, certification is not coming to you as nothing. It's coming to you as a cost. Whether you are being supported or not, there is a cost for certification. The first thing you do then, once you are sure that you can be able to comply with that, is to apply for that certification. This one, you apply to a certification body. You apply currently, you can apply to Kenya Bureau of Standards, you can apply to Zambia Bureau of Standards. Once you apply, they will ask you for quite some information. And in the course of that, I'll be able to give Zambia and KEBS an opportunity to enumerate some of the requirements, but they will ask you, what is your scope, number of sites, number of employees, all this, because this will be able to guide them on the cost of that particular certification. Once you give them those information, they will be able to give you a quote that you'll be able to pay for this certification, say, for example, $100. This $100, they will give you, then this is what we are saying, you pay that $1, we'll pay $70, assuming the cost of certification is $100. I'm not saying it is $100. Note this is just for an example. Then you are going to sign a contract with the certification body that they are going to undertake this certification for purposes of award of ECOMAC for this scope and the products. So after they do that, then you are going to pay the 30%. And then, of course, we will pay the 70%. Then they are going to register you in the ACAP base. This is African Conformity Assessment base. We are the scheme owner, so we have to be in copy of what is happening. And then they will undertake the initial assessment process for this certification. So they will request you for various documents for review, maybe certificates of registration, tax compliance register things, maybe some regulations you are complying with under your scope, maybe water regulations, agriculture regulations like that, all that. And then they will do what they call a desk review. And then after they make, they will now see whether you are ready for the next certification. That is when now, if you have any minor non-conformities there, you'll be able to agree and address them within a specified time, which is given up to 90 days. Then they'll come for what you call a site visit after you have complied with that, and then they will again ascertain compliance based on the documents that you have, and then what they will see on the field. How are you addressing issues to do with the environment? How are you addressing social issues? How are you doing addressing economic issues? Some of those requirements based on examples of the standards that the principles that Nadine enumerated. At each principle, there will be the indicators and criteria for addressing those. And again, of course, it's not easy for you to go without being a cat, so they might be able to observe some minor non-conformities again or some major non-conformities. So again, you are given some time to address that. Again, a period of a maximum of 90 days. And once you do that, then through their approval process, they will recommend for you to be awarded with the ECOMAC, and then a certificate will be released, and you will be given permission now to apply the ECOMAC label on your product. I forgot to say that this mark is protected at the European Intellectual Property Organization and the World Intellectual Property Organization. So it's a protected mark for ARSO. And if you look at the top of this screen, for instance, you see the eco mark on your right, and the other one is a quality mark that you can be able to award on your product after what Lina is going to present later, at what you call a self-declaration of conformity based on the standard. And again, also this one on your, the eco mark is on your right, the other one is on the left. Also, we are promoting what we call self-declaration of conformity, not self, dual marking of quality marks with a national mark of a country where that country will have adopted an African standard and is implementing it, and it is awarding a national quality mark on that product. So you'll be able to award, to also fix the ARSO mark on your product under the due marking scheme or arrangement. So that is it. So that's basically the certification process. And basically, this is summarized as given in this slide. You identify the scope, confirm the applicant is eligible based on those pre-required criteria of legal registration, all that complying with the national laws, then provide a scope, a quote for the certification by the certification body. Then, of course, you agree with the certification body on a time frame by when and even when the assessment or audit will be done. Then there'll be the agreement that you give the activities and then also the cost of certification. Then there'll be the sublease agreement, and then this one will be for you between you and the certification body, and this now will be the one that will give that certification body the go-ahead that you can continue with that particular certification. So this basically summarizes what I've been able to explain on that particular process flowchart. So plans, like I said, we are extending the sustainability standards. We are also continuing to build capacity building for the SMEs and certification bodies. And then we are supporting with 70% of the certification fees. This is for SMEs, and then for the certification bodies who are here for purposes of accreditation to 17065 and inclusion of the certification scheme in the certification body, we are also supporting with 70%. And for this, we are working with national certification bodies and also private certification bodies. And also, we are promoting the feasibility of both the SMEs and also the certification bodies for purpose of this certification. Now, we did make a call for certification support to CBs and certification bodies. I want to focus a little bit on the SMEs here. We need, because some people, when they forwarded the expression of interest, they did not indicate the scope which they want to be certified. So we require you go through your expression of interest document and clarify exactly the scope. That is whether it's agriculture, aquaculture, forestry, like that. Then also tell us the products you are dealing with. If, for instance, you are dealing with dairy, we'd like to know which dairy products you are dealing with, which means that product and the value added products. So like if you take dairy, maybe you are talking about milk, yogurt, ghee, cheese, etc. If you are dealing with maybe avocado, you are talking of the fresh avocado. You could also be talking of avocado juice or a smoothie like that. Then tell us whether you are under any certification scheme or you are in the process of being certified at either schemes like Fair Trade, Global Gap, Rainforest Alliance, WOODS, or national certification scheme. Like if you are in Kenya, maybe you are the SMAC. So this will guide us maybe to the level of training that you may require, a specialized training for you to assist you in the compliance. So look again at your expression of interest form, and then also give us this information. You know which one you didn't supply. Also, some people did not even put the contact telephone number or a WhatsApp number, and it is important for purposes of compliance. So thank you very much for your attention. I'm really lashing. You forgive me, but we would like at this juncture to call upon Kenya Bureau of Standards. 5 minutes or so, they tell us anything they can add value to the presentation I've made, because they are one of the certification bodies, and they will be closely followed by Zambia Bureau of Standards. Sala is on board, even as she introduces herself when her time comes, so that you can now ask the questions later, and we'll be able to address them. Thank you very much, and apologies for moving a little bit faster. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles. Before we invite questions, we can hear from Gibbs and Tabs, and then we continue like that.
Okay, thank you. This is Kenya Bureau of Standards. I'd introduce myself, but for the sake of maybe those who joined later, My name is Naomi Kitur, work with Kenya Bureau of Standards, and I'm currently in charge of Food Safety Management System certification, as well as ACAP. This is the ECOMAC program that we're just being taken through. So I would like to just give you a brief of what we do, but narrowing down on ACAP and possibly just a slight addition on how we go about the process, how we initiate the process with those who are interested. Charles has covered the bulk of it, the entire certification process, so I will not go into that. So Kenya Bureau of Standards is one of the certification bodies. That is owned by Kenya Bureau of Standards. It started its operations in the early 90s, but the certification unit, which eventually became the certification body, started its operations in 2002. We are accredited to offer various certifications, that is to 17021, and then we also accredited to 17024, which is a personnel management or personnel certification scheme. So we qualify our personnel, that is auditors, through a process where we manage their competence. And then we are also currently just in the last phases of getting accreditation to 17065, which is the one that is where the ECOMAC or ACAP is anchored. So of course we are one of the leading
Naomi, sorry to disturb. Can you please put in the presentation mode?
Oh, sorry. Okay, we are one of the leading cities in the region by virtue of the fact that we have really supported quite a number of certification bodies to put in systems and also get accreditation. So I'll skip some of the things because I think my time is really limited. So we run on certain principles based on the standards that we implement, that is 17021, which is really a conformity assessment standard, which gives guidance or requirements for certification bodies offering management system certifications, whereas 17065 gives guidance on or requirements for offering certification against product certification, as I said, where now ACAP, this ECOMAC scheme, is aligned to. So the two standards are anchored on specific principles, impartiality, where we must carry out our certification process in an impartial manner or without bias, on competence, and as I said, we have a whole competence management framework where we ensure that our auditors are competent and we are accredited to that as well. Then also other principles include openness, responsibility, responsiveness to complaints from our clients, and confidentiality of our client information. So I'll just run through quickly the services that we offer. So we offer certification of persons, that is any entity who wants to certify their auditors, be it internal auditors by a company or be it auditors by a certification body. So we also register and manage competence of personnel from other certification bodies. Then we offer management system certificates to various management systems standards, quality management, environmental, food safety. We have occupational health and safety, information security, IT service management. We do medical devices, ACAP, which I'll narrow down to shortly. We do business continuity, knowledge management, anti-bribery, and then we also do integrated management systems. So if you notice, most of these standards have a similar high-level structure. So we do offer integration because it is some companies that have multiple standards, they're implementing multiple standards to make it lighter and easier and even cost-effective. Then they can choose to integrate the standards, like put them together. There was a question on how integration can be done from within, that is ACAP being integrated into other existing sustainability schemes. So that is just one of the things that we do, integrated management system, where the clients, for those clients who have opted to integrate different standards. So narrowing down to the scheme of interest today is that we offer certification to ACAP Scheme D. We have also been taken through Scheme D, which is in eco-labeling and sustainability. So we offer currently certification to the scopes of agriculture, aquaculture, African catfish, aquaculture, tilapia, fisheries, tourism, and forestry. And this is what we are going to get accreditation to. We've already gone through the entire process, only at the tail end. And we offer both the certifications both locally, that is within Kenya, as well as outside Kenya, across the borders of Kenya and across East African as well. So we already have, based on the list that of certified farms that Charles took us through, the list of companies that had been certified previously. So in 2018, we offered certificate. We did certify a number of clients, 7 of them, and 5 in Kenya. We had 1 in Rwanda in tourism. We had the aquaculture in Uganda, that is SON, and Rwanda Hotel de Mille Collines. And then we had the agriculture and aquaculture companies in Kenya, the list that we were taken through. So currently we are in the process of getting certifying 4 clients in agriculture and 1 in aquaculture, which should be completed within the next few months. So we are accredited to 2 accreditation bodies, or rather we are accredited by 2 accreditation bodies. So we have the Kenya Accreditation Service, which Charles mentioned, who they are currently working with one of the accreditation bodies that ARSO is working with for the purpose of this ACAP ECOMAC scheme. And then we are also accredited by the RVA of the Netherlands to offer these services. So this is just a demonstration that we have been found and deemed to be competent to offer certification to these schemes. So this is just data on our number of clientele. I think I will just run. This is just to demonstrate to you our presence. We have a good presence locally within Kenya and also outside Kenya. So outside Kenya, we are within East Africa, we are in Uganda, we are in Tanzania, we are in Rwanda, we are in Ethiopia, and we are in Zambia, we are in Zimbabwe as well. And we are open, of course, to moving across to offering our services across other African countries. Then for auditors, yes, as I said, we offer personnel certification. So for those certification bodies that are present here, or even entities, companies that once you get certified, and of course, one of the things that you're required to do is to have an internal verification process where you have your assessors or auditors internally. And so, of course, you must demonstrate their competence. And we do offer that service of registering them, taking them through the process of ensuring they're competent, including training, and then registering them, and then monitoring their competence over time. And certification is typically valid for 3 years for both personnel and management system. I think Charles has mentioned that for management system as well as for this ACAP program, the ECOMAC certification is valid for 3 years. So what we expect as or a guidance, just a quick guidance on the roadmap to certification is that it's very important to have top management support for this to happen. And I want to believe that most of the persons possibly joining us today are members of top management in your various companies, or at least representatives of top management. So top management commitment is very important because they are the ones who offer the policy guidelines and they offer the resources, both human and financial, including time, to be able to put together the system and implement the system, as well as the certification process. So sensitization of top management is very important. Then appointment of a contact person, what we call management representative or whatever you call them, but they are representatives. They're the ones in charge of the system or coordinators of the system. And then champions, depending on the number of the context of the organization. So in some cases, we have a large pool of staff or a large staff numbers in staff, then of course there will be need to have different champions in respective, for example, departments and so on. And then training of these implementers or these champions, including management, the rest of management, that is mid-level management, and then an awareness training for all employees. And all this is ideally should be done internally, but of course can be supported. So if you need training, for example, you can reach out, like this kind of sensitization. You can reach out to even to us because we have a training arm through, of course, through ARSO. We can support you in awareness for your employees, or it can also be done internally, as I said. It is very important to have this awareness done because these people will contribute in one way or another in implementation of these principles that we were taken through, the criteria, the indicators, which without people being aware at all levels of within the organization, then it will be a challenge implementing and meeting these requirements of those standards. Then, of course, the system has to be documented, aligned with the respective standards. Then you implement, of course, the requirements as per the standard. Then, of course, once audits have been done and you've implemented, with audits, you're able to pick out any challenges or any gaps within the system and within the documentation, and then continually you improve as you progress. So then another thing required, of course, is for management. As I said, management commitment is key. And one of the things that management usually do is to review the performance of the system, because then they would make decisions on maybe additional resourcing that is required or any other action that is required for the system to be implemented appropriately. Then, of course, the rest of the process follows. Whatever chance took us through, you apply for certification. So for us as Kenya Bureau of Standards, I believe, I think I've seen a few names whom we have contacted, where we have requested you to apply through our system, our link, because we are now offering certification online, in the sense that the whole process, other than, of course, the audit, physical audit part, everything else is done on the system application, and then we evaluate your application, we do a quotation for you in the system, and so on and so forth. So that whole process is done. What you just need to do is log in through that link, which I will just put in the comment section, and then you should be able to make application. Then from there, we can be able to do a quotation for you. I have seen many questions on the costing. Lillian has given us a general guideline on the costing. It is it will vary depending on your context. So you'll have, for example, the number of personnel, the scope, and the number of sites. Some of you may be operating in multiple sites, so it will determine the number of audit time required, which we calculate based on auditor day. So one auditor auditing for 1 day is 1 audit a day. So you'll find in some cases we will just require 2 auditors coming for 1 day, or 1 auditor coming for 2 days, or 2 auditors coming for 3 days, and so on and so forth. This is guided by what we call a document known as a mandatory document, MD5, which is published by the International Accreditation Forum, which is the apex organization within the Conformity Assessment Framework. So we use that document as guided by the ACAP scheme to arrive at the audit time required based on the information that you provide us. And then now from there, we are able to cost for you the actual certification fees. And then, of course, then there would be other extras like logistics, depending on where you're located, transportation, if it's tickets, and so on and so forth. That is why I would encourage you to get in touch with us so that we
Thank
can.
you, Naomi. Thank you, Naomi. Please wind up. We don't. Please wind up, Naomi.
Okay. I think I'm done. The rest, I think, Charles, you had talked about, where we now, after the audit, then we do a peer review. There's a peer review of the audit reports, then a decision is made. Of course, once we've gone through the whole process of corrective action and so on, and then we do make a certification decision, and then surveillance audits follow every year, just to ensure that you're maintaining the system as required. Thank you very much. Those are just accreditation marks and the certification marks that we offer. And then I will put in our contacts. I've already put in a number of them. Thank you very much. Back to you, Charles.
Thank you very much, Naomi. Please look at the chat and then see which questions you can be able to respond. We will now invite Sarah Mumba from Zambia Bureau of Standards. If something has been covered by Naomi, please do not repeat. Just highlight what you do and the services that you are able to offer. We are running short of time so that we can be able to manage this particular time. So welcome, Sarah. Tell us your name and then you proceed. 5 minutes, please. Sarah, are you there?
Yes, okay. I'm here. Thank you very much, Charles. So my presentation was very similar to the KEP's presentation, so I'll just speak to it quickly. My name is Sarah Shawa Mumba. I'm from the Zambia Bureau of Standards, and I am the certification manager. So I'll just give a brief overview of ZABS. We are a statutory body under the Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry, and we provide certification services for both product and management systems. We also provide training services, and then we also do testing, and we also develop national standards, and we are also the national inquiry point for WTO issues. So just quickly into certification, we have 3 types of certification. That's product management systems, as well as we've got a certification program for SMEs. And then last year, we got accreditation for our certification services to provide the EcoMark certification to manufacturers. And our accreditation scope is for agricultural crops. So that's the agriculture sustainability and eco-labeling standards for black tea, as well as the scheme for aquaculture, which is tilapia, the broodstock, as well as the fingerlings. So currently we only have 2 scopes that are accredited. That's the black tea and tilapia, but we do provide certification services under the ACAP certification scheme A for other agricultural products like poultry, dairy, meat and meat products, as well as fisheries, forestry, the non-wood products like honey. And then we haven't yet gone into tourism, but we have capabilities for providing certification to the tourism sector. I must mention that our product certification schemes are accredited now with KENAS 17065 KENAS for the 2 scopes that I mentioned under the ACAP, as well as SADCAS. Under SADCAS, the Southern African Development Accreditation Services, we are also accredited under 17065 for food. That's water, dairy products, meat products, wheat flour, energy drinks and soft drinks, as well as chemical products, which is the household care products. And then also under SADCAS for 17021, We are accredited for the 4 management systems. That's quality management systems, occupational health and safety management systems, environmental management systems, as well as food safety management systems in selected scopes. So we also do provide a certification for 3 years for both product and management systems. And our certification currently covers Zambia, throughout Zambia, and we've got clients in the Democratic Republic of Congo. We've got some clients there for food safety management systems and an integrated management system. We've provided training in Malawi, in Namibia, and our training services. And then we're looking to expand our scope through the ACAP, especially because we are capable of providing the eco-labeling certifications now with our accreditation from KENAS to the East African market, West African market, as well as the Southern African region. Our certification process is similar to KEBS. There's a request for quotation, clients apply, and then followed by application review, and then we issue a quotation, and then we do the on-site evaluation. For products that require sampling, we do pick up samples and test them in our in-house laboratories. We also have accredited testing laboratories, 17025 accredited labs, 55 test methods with 33 parameters accredited. Is there anything else? I think briefly, in a nutshell, that should be it. I should be able to share an information profile with Charles, which he can circulate to the participants in this training. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sala and Naomi. So as we continue with this initiative for supporting the SMEs, we will be asking, actually forwarding your expressions of interest. We will be asking KEBS and Zambia to do a quote for the certification. And of course, the most competitive should be able to undertake your certification. So we thank you very much, KEBS and Zambia, for that expose on what you are actually doing. And we look forward to you moving across the continent together with, of course, other certification bodies for purposes of making real this certification. So I now hand over to my colleague Lillian to take us through the next session. So Sala, you can also look at the chat and see which questions you can be able to respond to. Otherwise, you look at the questions later and try to address them.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
So again, for the SMEs, as Lilian prepares, we shall be able to give the contacts for Sala and also for Naomi. But Naomi and Sala, you can type your contacts on the chat, give your email and the WhatsApp number.
Use the mic. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
So good afternoon once again. I'm going to take you through another form of certification or attestation that your product is meeting the requirements of as we have been seeing from different presentation. So it is called Supplier Declaration Conformity. It's one of the international standards. My screen is not moving. Sorry, I'm trying to reproject again because my screen was not moving. Why is it not working? You can see. Hello, is it okay now? Yeah.
Yes.
Is it okay?
Yes,
okay. Mhm. So I was saying that this is an international standards developed by ARSO in collaboration with the IEC, the International Technical Commission. It's one of the standards under different series of standards on conformity assessments. And this is the current version that we are going to introduce to you. This is how the standard looks like. It is a standard meant to be used by manufacturers, importers, suppliers to declare compliance with standard and different regulations. So what is a supplier declaration of conformity? This is one of the process that is being used to affirm that your product complies with the different specific standards and the regulation without going through a third-party certification. But you need to know that even though you're not going through the third-party certification, you have to test, you have to verify that your product is meeting the requirements of the standards or the regulation that are in place. It is used for the product, services, processes, management, and the personnel. It is applied to all those different scope. It's used by verifying the requirements, the technical requirements and standards. And also there are different methods that someone can use to testify or to attest that you are confirming with those different standards. There's one called supplier declaration of that. This is your self-assessing or assessing yourself if you are complying with the requirement of the standards. There's a second party assessment whereby the buyer, if he's satisfied with the product, can also declare that you are complying with the standards. There's that third party certification where we have now certification bodies like ZABS or KEBS or other FOSIBIs, the accreditation body that comes in, do assess, audit, and also take samples, test their product to verify that your products are complying. These are other requirements that can be used during that processes when you want to affirm that you are complying with the standards. You have to check the legal. You have to make sure that you are complying with the legal implication. This means that if there are regulation, you have to be bound to them. You have to make sure that you are complying with them before you issuing this document that that specify that you are complying. You have to give a condition of the use of that document and also to maintain it. To maintain it means that why you have issued the first documentation or the self-declaration, the first declaration, you have to always check that you are complying with the requirement of the standards so that the product that you have placed on the market, it is safe and also reliable. So, and then you'll be also confirming again that attestation. You need to be ready to dispose of the product in case there's any issue of the product so that you don't find penalties from the different regulatory bodies. So if the product isn't safe, you need to remove to the market and also go back, check, verify all the requirements. And finally, with this self-declaration, you need to be having to document all these processes that you are doing to ensure that wherever or anyone is asking you to have evidence what you have used or how you have come up to issue that declaration, what you went through, you have to be ready to show, and it's based on the documentation that you have in place. We have a sample of the form of the declaration. Once you are sure you have verified, tested that the product that you want to put on the market is safe and is complying with the standards, this is now the document that you issue along with the product that we are delivering. You have to give the product identification. Sometimes I think you use the batch numbers, serial number. You have to give the clear compliance statement, the object of the declaration, why you are declaring your product before you put it on the market. And then you have to reference the standards or regulation that you have been using or you are complying with, so that in any case, someone will be able to say that, okay, if the standard you have used, I'm okay, or even the CBs can be confident that your declaration is okay. You have to give the issuing authority, in this case, you'll be the manufacturer or the supplier yourself, that in any case, your product will be able to be traceable and they will know where to find if any case. Of course, you have to give the date. It's like even when they are issuing the quality mark or the eco mark, it always have dates where this logo or eco-mark label has been issued, and also it has the expiry date. Same as the declaration, it has to have a date, and after that you always have to check again and improve if any case. Then how can we implement this supplier declaration form? You have first to know what are the requirements of the standards of the regulation in place. You have to conduct a test and evaluation. This is taking your product to a test laboratories to test and confirm that the requirements are okay. And then you start preparing that goes along with that. You have to review the conformity assessment procedures if you are required to. This is also part of the regulation of the requirement. Verify the product compliance, draft the declaration, issue the declaration once you are ready, and then maintain the records for the sake of traceability. How do you know that a product has a self-declaration conformity? It usually goes with the product when you are delivering, or you can have those documentation. You can put it on the label of the product. You can put on your website as a way of assuring people that your product are okay. You work with the different regulatory bodies. They can register you in their database, and also you can work with third-party certification, the CBs, to be like supporting or accompany you or testifying that your products are okay while you are waiting maybe to go through the certification, the normal certification by the third-party certification. Yeah, you have to give also the contacts to the manufacturer or supplier, and also review the feedback and for the product review and feedback once you have, to ensure that the product is okay, and give any concern will be able to be answerable for any issue that might arise on the product. This self-declaration of conformity has a number of benefits. In case maybe you are not ready for or we are not have fund for going through the third-party certification, this is also another form that you can do and ensure that your product is put on the market without any issue. So there's a cost benefit on that, whereby you will not be forced or obliged to pay the audit fee. I think Naomi she mentioned different costs that are involved. So in this case, for the self-declaration, you don't need to go through all that. You do it yourself, except the cost of testing that you have to do. But in any case, if you have a small lab within your premises, that also can work. It's a flexible process whereby you don't need to go through a lengthy process or time. You know, CB have many clients. They have to schedule you, and sometimes can delay. So it's flexible. You can do it yourself at your own time, and while you're also ensuring the safety of the products. It helps you to speed to the market, get access easily to the market without waiting for so much, and so on. There are so many benefits with this. You can go through them, or you can read them through once we share with you the slides. I wanted to show you that there's another form that of conformity assessment that exists, the CE mark. It's an European mark, which can also be compared to this one that we are proposing to be using. There are some differences between those two, but briefly, we can say that the supplier declaration of conformity applies to different industries. Issuer has assumed liability for compliance. The content include details of products and standards, while for the CMAC, it's specific to European Economic Area only, and it's mandatory for certain products categories, especially the electronic products, and the representation complies with EU regulation, environmental issues. So this is the self-declaration as a way of helping and affirming your product in regard to safety and compliance to the standards while you are waiting to go through the third-party certification or certification by ACB. So we encourage you to be considering this also while we are waiting for that. Thank you so much for your attention.
Yes, Lilian is still the moderator for this training, so she's going to continue.
I think now we can invite a few questions, because I think we have gone beyond the time that was planned, and we can just invite a few questions Others you can send through the chat box. We continue to reply to that, or you can even send emails to us for further clarifications. 3 questions, and then we close our sessions with the way forward. Yes, please, you can go ahead. Sheikh.
Hi, thank you for the incredible and informative session today. Quick question: for the self-declaration of conformity, are the SMEs eligible to use either the ARSO or the eco mark?
Hello?
Yes, hello. Did you hear my question?
No, please, could you please come again?
No problem. I'm just wondering if the SMEs are eligible to use either the ARSO or the eco mark in cases of self-declaration.
To use the eco mark. Any other question? Hello? Is there any question, or we can just answer this? Okay, yeah. Please, Mr. Gashai, can you help me to answer this?
Hello. Thank you, Sheikh. I will respond, and if there is something else, maybe the technical director can do more clarification. This self-declaration of conformity, like Lian has explained, is compliance with an existing African standard. Bottom line, that is what it means, which means it can be compliance to voluntary sustainability standard, which is an African standard, or any other African standard. So I believe you can be able to apply it also on ECOMAT, but there is a difference between self-declaration and normal certification. Because on self-declaration, I think Lillian did mention that the proof is on yourself to demonstrate compliance, which means if a market surveillance authority or any regulatory body are able to pick the product on your shelf and you are not complying and you have declared that you have complied with, then legal action can be taken for you against you, and this can have serious consequences. Basically, to make other companies not to try to declare compliance where they are not complying. So yes, it can be done, but if the regulatory authorities or market surveillance regime within your country or anywhere are able to pick it up as a non-complying, and you are declaring that you are complying, then it might have some serious impact on you. Remember the self-declaration of conformity statement that Lillian was talking about. It is signed by among the senior members of the company, either the director, managing director of some. It's not just anybody that signs that declaration of conformity statement. Just demonstrate how serious the company is and how it is ready actually to demonstrate that compliance. Maybe technical director may need to add something, but that is my take in as far as that one is concerned. Okay, so he agrees with me. Yes, you can do it. But then if you are just putting it for the sake of putting it, then you should be prepared for the consequences. Should you be caught if you are not complying?
Thank you. There's a hand from Veronica.
Yes. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, my question is...
We can hear you.
Okay. We are like 160 on this call. I don't know if this applies to you, but I'm sharing experience from the field of how regulatory bodies have not trained business owners and expect them to meet a specific compliance. I'm using Nigeria for an example because I'm a Nigerian and I'm based here in Nigeria. We have a CAC registration where you can have your business name and the likes. Then for those who are in the food and beverages industry, you have the likes of NAFDAC. Majority of business owners are not aware of some of these standards, save for the fact that we participate in programs like this. Swoop on business premises and then shut them down and tell you you are being shut down because no prior warning or no prior notice. This is putting a burden on some businesses, right? So I am saying that in your capacity, is there a way you can advocate for standards bodies across Africa? I don't know if we have business owners who have experienced this or seen this. I'm not saying I have experienced it as a business, but I have seen it happen in, let me not mention names, but it is common practice that the regulatory bodies have not done enough in training business owners to attain these standards and then come to maybe tax them or shut up their business or close down their business, which is counterproductive. So I would appreciate if there is a level of advocacy to amplify this training effort for businesses in Africa. Thank you, and I want to commend the Impact Car for giving us this opportunity to learn from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Veronica. I think I'll take this as a recommendation, and we have taken note. But as a point of information, we do have different awareness sessions in different countries. We've been even in Nigeria, but the awareness continues. Wherever we have a request or a gap, we are ready to come in and intervene. As you said, you are working with the Impact Hub to support different businesses and also train them on these different requirements. So this is an ongoing initiative that we do wherever we have a call, and we can promise you that we continue to engage wherever possible. Please share your concern, your requests. We try our best to help you. And as I said, advocacy continues with our members also in the same in that regard. Thank you. Last question and intervention before we invite in our technical director to close for us and also give us the way forward. No other question? Thank you so much. Mine is just to thank you, and it has been a great session. We thank you for your contribution and comments. See you next time. TD, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for the session. I think I've listened with interest from all the participants. And just a quick one on the MSc certification and ECOMAC. I think the answer was quite correct. That what we do when you have such marks is always a comparison of the convergence, so that we do not have to take you through a whole set of audits when we know that some of these standards have a very high level of convergence. So where such standards exist, I believe that we should be able to ascertain the level of convergence and then address only those aspects where there's no convergence. So it is possible to get the marks, and that shouldn't be a hindrance. Now, the initial support, as some of you heard, is that as we move forward, it doesn't mean we are stopping. In actual fact, we would like to see as many of you apply as possible, so that if you are not immediately ready and you do not get the support, subsequent activities will continue with those who may not get the initial support or are not ready to get the support immediately. So there's no need to worry. We should be able to schedule those who are not yet ready to get subsequent support as we move forward and engage with our partners to continue supporting the certification. So some of the issues that also you need to remember is that when you get certified, that portion that you actually pay for commitment will be used for purposes of ensuring that you can get recertification or surveillance audits. So it's not that the funds that you commit are going to be removed away from your activities, but rather to ensure that they can support the subsequent recertification audits. And finally, I think the final question was interesting in the sense that we have actually been asked this question about the regulators, and we continue engaging with them so that they are able to give or to understand that once you comply with the standards, you almost certainly have complied with most of their regulations, and they can even use the standards or the certification as a measure of you complying with the regulations. So this is something that we are continuing to engage with the regulators, and I know the same question has been asked from Nigeria. So and we believe that we are going to be organizing with the Standards Organization of Nigeria to have interactions with the regulators, not only in Nigeria, but also in other countries, to ensure that they understand the use of standards as a basis for regulations, and therefore the fact that they can exempt some of these organizations to a certain extent when they are certified to certain standards. So that's an area that we are working on. And as I conclude, I believe that we have started very well, and we need to see that the next steps, those who will be selected based on specific criteria will be contacted, and we shall be moving forward towards having them get detailed training to get the certification. But most importantly, remember that there's a self-assessment that you're going to do to ensure that you can invite the auditors for certification when you feel like you are very ready. So that is the next steps. And as I emphasize, is that we shall be getting in touch with you in subsequent activities of assessment and certification. Thank you very much for your interest, and thank you very much for setting aside your time to participate in the awareness, and looking forward to more engagements, and particularly for those who will be in the first phase as we wait for the others to prepare. So sometimes you may find that those that you are familiar with will be getting the detailed engagement for certification, and perhaps they will form a good basis for you to learn on what happens. They will give the testimonies on experiences learned, and therefore give the confidence that this is doable. Thank you very much. Until next time, we wish you all the best in your endeavors as in your activities. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, TG. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank
It
you,
was a
guys.
wonderful presentation.
Everyone, bye.
Bye.
From Cameroon, bye. Thank you so much.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, Ghana.
Bye from Nigeria.
Goodbye from South Africa.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye from
Bye-bye from
Cameroon. Bye,
Malawi.
everyone.
Thank you, and bye, everyone. We love you from Nigeria.
DRC.
Africa.